Well, hi everybody out there on YouTube. This is Sparky Mike. Welcome to the Ol'skool Reefer channel. I did a huge upgrade today, or actually last night, night before that, and decided, I don't know what the deal is, but my pH has slowly been dropping over the last couple months, and I decided to remove the venturi valve that I had aerating my sump. Used to run off of the return line or the closed loop for the chiller and heater, and so I removed that and basically plugged the line. And what I did is I bought a really big protein skimmer from Life Reef, which is old school reefing stuff. I had one of these skimmers, God, 22 years ago, 25 years ago I bought one, and it was a 4-footer and it worked awesome. And since I bought the new house and installed a new system, I went with the Vertex when I bought the whole system. And a little tiny short guy, 2 foot tall maybe, reaction chamber, oh, maybe a foot tall, and it just wasn't aerating. And so of course it led me to put the venturi valve in the sump, and it was actually the foam and aeration in the sump was creating a ring of slime around the sump. So I determined that my protein skimmer probably wasn't working the most effective of all, and I went back to an old school big giant venturi fed protein skimmer. And from what my understanding is, pinwheel and needle wheel skimmers will actually kill the copepods in the water column. Any of the living creatures that are actually in the water column that corals and everybody eats, including baby shrimp. So it kills all the copepods. Well, apparently if you use an impeller driven pump to drive a venturi skimmer, it doesn't kill those critters in the water column. So that seems to be most effective as far as keeping those critters alive in your system, being beneficial to the corals and everybody. So what I've done is I have, of course, put a bigger skimmer in, and it of course is aerating the living shit out of the water, which is actually helping keep my pH up to a minimum of 8.0 overnight. And the lights are about to kick on, so of course my pH will go back up from there. I haven't been using any buffer or let it run out, so I've let the system not dose buffer to see what it'll do. And of course, as is everything, it's a huge experiment. You can see my mess of plumbing parts and everything it took to convert this puppy. And what I also did is I added 4 drain lines to my reef. I upgraded the loop pump to Milwaukee MD70 here on the right, and it's 1,500 gallon, I think, and it's a true 1,500 gallon per hour. So this skimmer needs 1,100, so I ran it through the heater modules, which I have down here kind of blocked. Sorry about that. I have it running through the heater modules from the sump to the pump, up through the chiller, from the chiller up to the skimmer. So this runs full time. Probably have 3,000 gallons going through the sump section here, and that's why I added the 2 more drains into my sump barrel. So huge modification, got a lot of water going through this end of the sump, or whatever you want to call it, old refugium area. And of course my bio bead reactor, which also got upgraded to a larger model. I believe this skimmer is rated to 500 gallons, so it's on my 350 gallon fairly loaded system. And so I seem to be pretty happy with it. It seems to be doing its job, as you can tell in the last 12 hours. And what I also did to this was I run ozone through, so I needed neoprene tubing. I also had to pressurize from a commercial air pump and feed air through both of these, one being the dryer for the ozonizer and the other one being a CO2 scrubber, which uses soda lime. I have a 5-gallon jug of it here. So, and I also have a bypass on it, so I can bypass. And then I run outside air, which I ran to the commercial compressor, which got condensed 3 into 1, and ran it up here to feed the CO2 scrubber and a separate line for the air dryer. So through all those neoprene tubing, and I was tired, and Jeff Turchek from Life Reap has redesigned his protein skimmer. They used to have a cap on top that used to be able to put carbon in, which was actually like this one. And what he has done is he has bypassed, instead of having the carbon cup, and when the carbon gets wet, it tends to not absorb the ozone, so you kind of get a stench anyways after a month when the carbon expires. So what I've done to this is he had a recycle tube cut into here, which would keep the venturi valve moist and prevent salt buildup. The old school way was just to simply disconnect it, stick the tube down in the water, let it suck up water for a couple minutes, and it would decrystallize the venturi. So he put a bypass on here. What I've done with the bypass was run it actually outside the house, so I'm venting all the ozone and nasty stench up through and out of the house. So I have a towel on here to keep the cap from jumping around because of the pressurization, so I'm gonna have to come up with a little better idea for that. A piece of foam or something. Keep the cap pushed down tight. Lucky for my ductwork, I guess, and lucky this thing is 3 foot tall and just barely makes it. Woohoo! So anyways, I've upgraded my protein skimmer. I'll give an update as to what I see the pH doing or not doing. Like I said, I removed the venturi valve out of the sump barrel and placed it in line on a protein skimmer, increased the protein skimmer, and at least my pH is not dropping. So you can see the ozone, or the ORP 368, doing awesome. My calcium reactor there at 6.5, tank at 76.7. So it's about morning time for these guys, and about evening time for the shrimps. Jumpy shrimps. I don't know if I can catch the baby swimming, but yep, there goes one right there. All kinds of little baby peppermint shrimp. So they seem to be growing up. I forgot to add in my last video, I have some foam that I have stuck in the drain box to prevent the baby shrimp from going down the drain and ending up in the sump. What else? I guess that's about all. Just wanted to give an update to my system and why I upgraded to a larger skimmer. Basically more air to water reaction time than my old skimmer, and have an injection, venturi injector, in the sump. So this one deal seemed to took it all over. I didn't have to, in fact I removed a pump that was internal on the skimmer and just increased to a larger size pump through my closed loop. So kill 2 birds with 1 stone. There you go, getting her done. At least I'm not going backwards. So have a great day, take care, hope you enjoyed the video, found the information useful or helpful. I would suggest a larger protein skimmer to anybody. The bigger the better. Anyways, have a great day, take care. Happy reefing. Thumbs up if you like it. Subscribe if you haven't. I always come up with information or experimentation. Take care.